A pro-Palestinian MP supporter has faces UK terrorism charges. We're going to read into this more from the Financial Times, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from the Financial Times with the headline of a pro-Palestinian MP supporter faces UK terrorism charges. Majid Freeman was a campaigner for Shockat Adam who unseated Jonathan Ashworth in Leicester South. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. Now, we need to be absolutely clear here. Now, recently, Jonathan Ashworth has spoken to the media since he lost his seat, and he has spoken about how he got death threats, how he was threatened during his campaign because of Labour's position on Gaza, and he was not the only one. I've heard. Obviously, I covered it on the Snowflake Watch with Debonair also saying that she and some of her volunteers and workers were also threatened because of Labour's stance on Gaza, even though that they still call for a ceasefire. But it's, we can talk to the high end of hills about Labour's position about Gaza. But I want to make something very, very clear here. Just putting Gaza aside for one moment here. I don't give a See, I nearly said that. I don't care who you are, okay? Yeah, I don't care how you feel about Gaza, about any conflicts or whatever's going on in the world. You do not go threatening any candidate, any MPs, in any way, shape or form. Making death threats, verbal abuse and whatnot. I don't care how vile scum of the earth they may be, or how sweet and kind they are. There are lines, and there are many lines were crossed. There are many, many lines that were crossed. And I think it's quite sickening that some people threaten some of the language that some people used against certain Labour candidates because of how they feel about Gaza. I think it's completely out of order. It is completely out of order. Yeah, it's not going to. Yeah, you screaming and shouting, making death threats hurling abuse at any candidates, any politicians, is not going to fix what's going to happen in the Middle East. Okay, it's not going to fix it. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's up to Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the Israeli Prime Minister, what he wants to do. Yeah, the UK can apply pressure, they can apply sanctions, they can obviously take away the weapons arms, they can call for an unadjudicated ceasefire. There's lots of things we know from a political perspective that UK can do to apply pressure to Israel. And yes, of course, we should be doing everything we can to apply that pressure on the Labour government to do more to stop what's happening there. But there is no justification. No justification for some of the language that was used against Labour candidates and the former Labour MP Jonathan Ashworth. None whatsoever. There are lines here, people, and lines were crossed. And it's completely unacceptable, to say the least. Yeah, and for those who know me, those who've been following me on my channel and hear what I say about how I speak about Gaza, I'm very, very much. I've very much been paying a lot of attention to what's happening there. I do cover many videos about what's happening over in the Middle East on my Rumble channel, and every now and then on the Snowflake Corner or on the world premiere videos, I will bring up Gaza as well, because when I hear about over 36 to 38,000 people dying, when more than 13,000 kids and women and children are dead, don't get me wrong, it really does hurt me, but there are lines, and we must not cross them. We must not sink ourselves to lower levels. And yes, we can rightly criticise MPs and candidates and politicians for not doing enough. Rightfully so. Absolutely. If you think they've not been doing enough, absolutely you can criticise them. But there are lines. There are red lines, and the red lines were crossed here. So let's read into this, guys. So a supporter of the new independent MP for Leicester South was charged last Wednesday with terrorism offences less than a week after Shockat Adam's surprise defeat of Labour's Jonathan Ashworth in a campaign focused heavily on the conflict in Gaza. Leicestershire Police said the 36-year-old Majid Novsarka, also known as Majid Freeman, if I misconstrued his name, I apologise, had been charged with encouragement of terrorism and supporting a proscribed organisation. He was released on bail. The police have not said which alleged conduct by Freeman formed the basis of the criminal charges. Freeman was part of a campaign by Adam to unseat Ashworth, who had been the Labour shadow paymaster general and had been expected to receive a senior job in Sir Keir's new government. Adam was one of 4 independent candidates who won seats last Thursday's general election after campaigning on the Gaza conflict, with areas of significant number of Muslim voters. The former party leader Jeremy Corbyn, who has criticised Labour's response to the conflict, also won his seat of Neilson and Wharf after being ejected from the party and running as an independent. In Leicester South, Adam took 14,739 votes to Ashworth's 13,760, in a seat where Labour had previously enjoyed a solid majority. Several other prominent Labour MPs, including Health Secretary Wes Streeton, Home Office Minister Jess Phillips and Justice Secretary Sabina Mahmood, came close to being defeated in the election by independents or Worker Party candidates. Ashworth said Adam had serious questions to answer about his association with Freeman. He said decent-minded people across Leicester will expect their new MP to publicly and without equivocation provide a full account of his dealings with this individual in the campaign, Ashworth has said. A video on X that was reposted by Adam on the 22nd of June showed Freeman repeatedly questioned Ashworth on the street about why he abstained in a parliamentary vote over a ceasefire in Gaza earlier in the year. Adam wrote above in the video the reference was to his ceasefire vote. Then Ashworth was ashamed of Labour's pro-genocide position. If you don't want to be asked questions by the public when you are canvassing on the streets, then maybe you should stay at home, he wrote. Starmer, who's now Prime Minister, has been criticised by some traditional Labour supporters for only gradually shifting the party's position towards supporting a ceasefire in Gaza. An ex-account in Freeman's name expressed support for other pro-Palestinian candidates, including Ahmed Yabou's unsuccessful independent campaign to remove Mahmoud in Birmingham's Ladywood, and Josh McTarley's unsuccessful campaign on a Workers' Party ticket to unseat Phillips in Birmingham Yardley. Yeah, the Workers' Party definitely didn't win any seats, but they definitely in certain constituencies took a lot of votes based on the Guards' position. Obviously, George Galloway did not get his seat, retain his seat that he won in the by-election, but he did get a lot of votes still because of his position on Gaza. That is something, obviously, Labour need to be more clear about their position on Gaza, but some of the language and the tone that has been used by there has to be questions about that by some of these independents. Issues around religion and ethnic identity are particularly sensitive in Leicester after a series of violence broke out in August and September 2022 between young Muslim and Hindu men in the city. Freeman did not respond immediately to a direct message on X asking for a comment on the charges. Adam did not respond immediately to an email to his parliamentary address for a comment on Ashworth's demands. The police said Freeman would appear at Westminster's Magistrate Court on July the 24th. They haven't said very clearly in here. It's very, very important to clear. They haven't said exactly what the charges are. But it's apparently, maybe it's something to do with the X tweet, the tweet there, potentially. But we don't know exactly what it is. Now, remember, this is from the Financial Times as well. So, I have not seen this story elsewhere. And it's possible by the time you guys see this video, it's possible, I say it's possible, that more details would have come out by then. But what I will say is this: if he has done in any way, shape, or form, like I've said, if he has threatened or gone too far, or if he's acted violently, or made death threats, or any kind of vulgar threats or whatsoever towards Jonathan Ashworth, then he should pay. Then he should pay crimes for them, without a shadow of a doubt. And yes, the independent MP here has to answer questions because of his links to him as well. That's also questions that need to be raised as well. I understand how people feel about Gaza. People who know me know how I feel about this. But like I said at the start of this video, there are lines. There are lines, and there are ways to tackle this problem. And this is not the way to do them. And if people on the so-called left, if you want to call it, want to win over hearts and minds on the issue of Gaza, there are ways to do it. And the way, and one of those ways of not doing it is by hounding and verbal abusing or death threatening MPs into thinking your ways. I don't agree with how Labour have positioned themselves originally on Gaza, and yes, Labour have changed their tune since then, but it still doesn't. There is no justification for it. At the end of the day, yeah, a Labour government, a Conservative government, whatever British government, cannot force what's going on in the Middle East. They can apply pressure, they can do political things and whatnot, but they can't force the issue. There is only one country, the one nation, that can apply more pressure to Israel than anyone, and that is the United States. We all know that. We all know that. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of this pro-Palestinian MP supporter that's facing UK terror charges? As of the time of this recording, I don't know what exactly the details are. We are only speculating what it could be, so it's entirely possible that there may be an updated version of this. And if so, please let me know down in the comment section what exactly the charges are. And have you been aware of other candidates being threatened, or death threats or verbal abuse that you are aware of in your area or that you've heard about? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.